and welcome to my channel. I am Mandy Grace, the author of a retelling of the Legend of Robin Hood, Return to Sherwood. Today I'm going to be writing the sequel to that lovely novel there. I have a first draft already written, if you've been watching my channel. I wrote the first draft, and this past week I re-outlined it, so we're actually going to dive into the second draft. I have to figure out if I'm going to be polishing and revising my first draft, or starting with a blank page and working from there with my new outline. I don't know. Let's just dive into it. My writing essentials. Tea, candle. I have written just over 1,000 words so far. What I am doing so far is I have a blank page open. I just opened a completely new document. And I am writing the scenes basically from scratch, but I also have my first draft open as well, and am looking at the original scenes to see what was important in those scenes, if I want to pull anything from it for inspiration basically as I write the new scene. And then once I finished the new scene, I actually copied and pasted the old scene over and stuck it underneath the new scene that I wrote, and just went through and deleted lines that were redundant or completely unnecessary, and then things that weren't in the new scene that I thought I should keep, I added in where they would fit. It's a little tedious, but I think that's what I'm going to keep doing, because it worked fairly well for this first scene. So when I wrote the original first draft, I had a very light outline. It basically said things like, the gang runs to Paris. Actually, I don't even think it said Paris. I'm pretty sure it just said France, because I didn't know where I was going to send them. Anyway, it was just very vague. So as I was going through, I was basically just making it all up on the spot, which is fine. But when I did my Save the Cat outline last week, whenever that was, it's much more detailed and like character focused. So basically, all that is to say, the opening image for my story, which is beat number 1, the opening image, I wanted to set up the 3 story arcs that are actually the point of the story, which is Ida's journey of forgiving Guy and Andrew and everyone else who's ever wronged her in any way, because she's kind of a bitter person, and then Mark forgiving Lucy for not taking any of the shots ever that he thinks she should have, because he blames her for the death of his sister Marion and all sorts of things. Anyway, and then and then everyone's favorite character Gilbert on his revenge quest. Anyway, those are the 3 storylines that I wanted to set up at the beginning, because that's what we'll be following through. And just like Return to Sherwood, there will be scenes from other people's perspective as well, because they're all on this journey together, but those are the 3 important ones. So I decided I wanted to, the first 3, they're not chapters, they're just snippets within the chapter, but whatever, the first 3 point of views that we see when we open the book, to be Ida, Mark, and Gilbert. In any order, I don't really care, but those 3. In the original first draft, the first person you see is Robin, and then Mark. So I basically cut Robin's scene and just mixed it in with Mark's. And now, that wasn't too hard either, because I had Mark's scene immediately after Robin's, and they sort of bled into each other already, so it wasn't too hard to mix them together and make them just Mark. But now, I would like to do Ida's opening image, and I have that scene from Andrew's perspective right now, and trying to change it to Ida's is going to be odd, because it's a conversation between Andrew and his best friend Guy, which has nothing to do with Ida, so I have to like actually write a completely new scene this time, whereas the scene that I just wrote was basically just updating the scene. Anyway, I just thought you should know that I'm struggling here. Alright, I finished another scene. I did Ida's scene. That one was more complicated, as I said, because it was from a completely different character's perspective, and I had to just rewrite the whole thing. But it's been done, and now we're moving on to the next opening scene, which is Gilbert on his revenge quest. This is gonna be fun, ignoring the loud sounds out the window. I just came to a part in my original first draft that made me laugh out loud, because one of my characters just thinks to themselves, will this nightmare... No, what does she say? Let me read it instead of trying to paraphrase. Would they ever be free of this nightmare? And then I have a comment from my sister, who reads all my first drafts, that says, the answer is no. English royalty are scary people. And it just made me laugh, because she's not wrong. That also basically sums up my whole Robin Hood adventure. No. English royalty are scary people. I am 4 scenes in, around 4,000 words in, too. I guess they're all around 1,000 words. I don't know, I haven't paid that much attention to the individual scenes, but now that I've done 4 scenes, I've got 4,000 words written. At least half of it, maybe a little more, is new material, and then the rest is just the slightly adjusted material that I moved over from the first draft. And I just had to cut one of my favorite scenes from the first draft, which I know is also my sister's favorite scene from the first draft. We actually were just discussing the whole barn scene together. Yes, well, it had to go, because it didn't benefit anyone's character arc at all. It was just a pointless bit of fluffy nonsense. So it's been cut. And that entire scene was given to a different character and was completely rewritten. It's like, it's a whole different scene. It's not the same at all. The location is the same, but that's about it. I made it completely through chapter 1 with revisions and new scenes. I think I'm calling it a day for now. It's a solid 2 hours of writing. I had a character, Gilbert, everyone's favorite character, get wounded fairly extensively in Return to Sherwood, but in the first draft that I wrote of the sequel, he's running around like he's basically totally fine. So I had to go look up to remind myself what his injuries actually were in Return to Sherwood, and then I made a list of them and their recovery times for people who actually sit down and rest and let their wounds recover. So obviously his will take longer than that because he doesn't sit down and rest. Yeah, so doing that. Also doing some more research on weapons and things, because I feel like Gilbert can never have too many knives and such. I had a break and did some reading of this spectacular book, which I am loving. And now I am back to writing. Okay, I think I'm actually calling it a day. I am in the middle of chapter 2 now, and over 6,000 words in, and still at least half of it is completely new content, and I'm loving it. The new stuff is really, really good, I hope, and the stuff that I'm pulling over is getting updated and adjusted, and it's just, oh, it's so much better than the first draft. Like, I am only 6,000 words in, and the first draft is, you know, like 90,000 words. But these 6,000 words are just so much better. The story is so much more focused, and I'm actually, like, building up the 3 character journeys that are important in the story at the start of it, and not just throwing them in randomly. Save the Cat has saved my life. But anyway, yeah, I'm calling it a day, I think. It's almost 5 o'clock, and I'm tired, and I don't really want to write anymore.